You are looking live once again at the Nasdaq from 2017. And I keep bringing this chart up. First of all, I have a lot of new members at MC Stock Charts, but it's just to set a precedent. This is the Nasdaq from 2017, where it didn't have a pullback of more than 4% for an entire year, more than an entire year. So 2017 was a fantastic year, and it just had these, short little pullbacks along the way, not a big deal, right? I mean, if you can't handle a bump like that, you probably shouldn't be, in the stock market. But all year long, just grinded higher, these little short, little mild pullbacks. And it was a fantastic year. It was up 37% or something. But anyway, I'm going to go to today's NASDAQ, which has been rallying since the end of October. And we've had a strong rally, and people say, oh, it's been, 19 weeks, and most rallies don't last this long. So what? Doesn't matter. You just ride that trend. And this is trending nicely here since the start of this rally in October. You can see the one little blip here, as our Sherpa friend Mike Webster says, it's really tricky trading the last couple of weeks of the year and the first couple of weeks of New Year. And once again, this year was kind of tough. We had a sharp pullback there, but here's a 2-day pullback to the 21. Here's a couple session pullback to the 21. Here's a 2 days pullback to the 21, then it rallied up, then another 3-day pullback to the 21. Now, recently we just had this 2-day pullback. This is 2.7% from the high of 16,302 to the low of 15,862, if my math is correct. 15,862, yeah, was the low. And then today it rallied up okay. Just a nice little bounce off the 21 is what we saw. And it could do this for, I don't want to be too presumptuous, but it could do this for an entire year like it did in 2017. We're already like, I don't know, 5 months into this rally, nearly 4.5 months. So it looks good to me. I'm a short-term, bull. I'm always flexible though, and if something happens, you got to change your plans, you got to change your mind, you got to be flexible. But I'm bullish short term and longer term for 2024. Anyway, let's get to some stocks. You know what? I'm going to go to the Apple because a couple of friends of mine just they want to hold on to this, and I beg you not to. I mean, there's so many other things going on in the market right now, and Apple is just faltering, it's floundering. You might have it for the dividend or whatever, but don't hold on to this hoping that it's going to come back. Those glory days, as Bruce Springsteen would sing, those glory days, they're kind of gone for this one. And the market's just moved on. It was decent for 2023. As you can see, it rallied for most of the year, but we're in a new year now. We're in a new phase of the bull market, and it's really it's expanding, it's broadening, and it's really healthy. But these stocks are getting left out. This is Tesla. Just I show you this, often that this is just more of a short than anything. And you don't have to short in this market. Don't even think about it. There's so many things doing well. Microsoft is starting to look vulnerable too here as it pulls back to its 50. It needs to find support there. But anyway, I'm not even interested in those stocks. The tell here for NVIDIA and Supermicro and AMD is when the NASDAQ pulled back the last couple of days, is what I tell you to look for strength. And NVIDIA just won't back down. This is a Tom Petty stock for sure. Just keeps grinding higher. 900 is definitely, well within its reach this week or next week. But like I said, the tell was the last couple of sessions. AMD did pull back a little bit yesterday. What was it, like 20 cents? I think it closed at the high of the sessions. Yeah, 97%, and it was down 23 cents. So that was showing relative strength, and that's a clue for, when the index is weak, some of these stocks get hammered, 5 or 6%, and these ones keep going up. This is Super Micro. It had made a new high today and then pulled back. Got to feel sorry for Super Micro shareholders, only up $33 today. Another 3% move with volume. The volume is just piling into this thing. This stock is a powder keg, really. I think it's going to blast a lot higher. There's just too many cute retail people thinking they can short it. The short interest is building up in this thing. I don't understand what people are thinking. here, you're going to get fried in a stock like that, trying to short it. Just if you don't want to own it, don't own it. But geez, do not short that thing. It's shown the ability to just move, explosive moves. It's really going to hurt you on the short side, I think. Anyway, what do I know? Anyway, I'm going to move on. Tomorrow we have earnings reports from MRVL, which looks pretty good to me. It had this long consolidation. This has been on our ready list. I took it off this week because it kind of moved out of its little buy zone, and it has earnings tomorrow. But this could definitely be more fuel for the AI fire. We just got to hear what they have to say. This is a strong stock in the Semiconductor Fabless group, which is one of the top groups. And this thing looks fantastic, $81 now. I remember we were fooling around with it when it was back here at like $50. Okay. Anyway, that's what happens in bull markets. Stocks can go a lot higher than you expect them to, or could ever even imagine them. This is Broadcom. It had an upgrade, I believe, yesterday, and it might have been the day before. But anyway, that's not important. They report earnings tomorrow. This thing looks like it's flagging kind of nicely here. We'll have to see what they have to say though. And this is a real big company here, 625 billion market cap. It's like twice the size of AMD. So it's going to be market moving. It's going to have an impact on the semiconductor space. All right, let me see. Oh, I put this one on our ready list today. I know it's intriguing me. It pulled back slightly, but it had this nice move here and just looking for a little flag pattern here in COHR. I believe the buy point was like 63 something. Anyway, that's it for that sector. I want to go to the software names. Spotify is one that's just broke out of this base here and just keeps surfing the moving averages. This thing looks fantastic. Definitely in competition with Apple Music. Oh, I know what I got to do. I got to show you this one. BRZE. This is one that's been on a ready list, and people, texting. They weren't texting me. They were contacting me on Twitter saying, "This thing's frustrating." I said, "Well, it's frustrating. Get out, because you don't want to hold in this tape. You don't have to hold something." And then yesterday it sliced. It's 50. Had an inside day today, but I'm not interested unless it could rally back through real sharply, back near the 60 level. Yeah, that's coming off our list. That's no good. Slicing the 50 with 7% move, with volume, that's no bueno. Adios, muchachos. So it's just a frustrating stock to hold. Datadog, I'm talking about this one too. Surfing its 50 here, and it just kind of just limping along. Then it traded below it. Now the 50 is acting like resistance. What was once support, very likely maybe resistance here. That's definitely an avoid for this kid. Giga Cloud is another one. I don't even know why I showed this. Just pulled back to the 21 yesterday. Today it pulled back to the 10. Strong stock, trending higher highs, higher lows, except for this day. You got to put your thumb over this day, February 20th. I'll have to remember that. Let me see. Snowflake, just another day of selling, down, drip, drip, drip. That's a definite avoid. Palantir, they had news today. Military contract goes up, nearly 10% with volume. So that's a heck of a nice move. Up after hours as well. So, that you got to love it. Making new highs, right? We like new highs. Oh yeah, I've got to get to the cybersecurity names. CrowdStrike. I'd mentioned this. I don't know if I mentioned this on the video or I don't know where I mentioned it to people, but the people were asking me about CrowdStrike. I did sell CrowdStrike because the Palo Alto, the weakness continual, a couple times down to the 50. I didn't want to hold it into earnings, and it gapped out of thin air essentially. Bounce off the 50. And if they're not coming out of a base, it's a lot different on a gap up than when they're gapping from. Put it this way, I'm more interested in stocks gapping out of bases than one that are extended and then gapping higher, because this is what happens. It's still up 10% today. It's a fantastic day for the longs. I'll take that any day, but you can see that the gap higher and then, they just kind of sold into it all day long. I mean, if you were playing options, you could have just bought puts here in the morning and cashed them in, because it was just going down all day long from what, 370 to 330, 365, yeah, to 330. So anyway, good day for, crowd longs. Just it needs to form some sort of a base here, a flat base or something. It just, you don't want to buy gaps higher if it's not out of a base. That's what I'm trying to say. I might be getting a little tongue-tied today. Anyway, Palo Alto Networks. Now, George Kurtz at CrowdStrike was really teasing Palo Alto, saying they don't see any fatigue. They're taking market share, and here's Palo Alto limping along. Very textbook trading here. Is it sold off down to the 200, bounced off the 200, came up to the 50, and got rejected at the 50. So that is resistance now, and sold off the last, what, 5 sessions. So yeah, if you shorted it there at the 50, you're doing okay, but I'm not even thinking about shorting in this tape. You don't have to. Why? You can just sit on the winners and let them do their jobs and go golfing or biking or swimming or hiking or running or whatever you like to do. Fortinet, I have this on our ready list. Really like the looks of this one. It had a couple of bad quarters. You can see these big gaps lower, but now it seemed to have righted the ship here. They had a nice earnings report, and this is a nice consolidation pattern here. I've got to tell you, it's getting harder and harder to find stocks setting up in bases, because most of the moves have already been made. We know who the leaders are. I just showed you, AMD, NVIDIA, and SMCI. They're not going to be easy to buy. You're going to have to buy them on, pullbacks to moving averages, and they're not going to set up in big bases like this in this current market environment. The market environment is everything too. All right, I'm going to move on to the retail. The retail, because the Foot Locker, it got off on the wrong foot today. Really, I mean, I thought she was doing a really good job, and today just take the wind out of your sails here, down 30%. Guided lower margins, compressing, and a stock like this, down 30%, it brought down the entire shoe cohort, which kind of surprised me, because, it's not that big of a company. It's less than 3 billion market cap, but yeah, what they had to say was not good. So, yeah, they got off on the wrong foot. That's really, they got what do they call, foot odor? They need some odor eaters or something. ONON. Now this one was cited by the Nordstrom CEO as some one of the stronger brands, Hoka and On Holdings are selling well in the Christmas quarter, I guess. Nordstrom's didn't have a great quarter, but pulled back. This is a classic handle there. It's been down, what, 5 days in a row. I kind of like the looks into this heading into earnings. I might even take a swing here and just hold into earnings just for a couple things I don't like about it is the market cap, 10 billion market cap. I think they're going to have strong sales. I think they're going to have a good report, but I just don't know how much of a multiple the street's going to give On Holdings. It's pretty expensive stock. But we'll see. I mean, it's growing, 58%. I think they're going to do okay. Deckers, this one going into the S&P, it was actually up today. I have this on the ready list. Most of the shoe stocks were down today. Let me correct myself on the Foot Locker report. Anyway, this I think has a nice buy point there around 903, just making the higher lows and higher highs. It's got to get above that high right there. But I still like Deckers. I think they're going to have to split their stock, much like SMCI, because they're not very liquid. 939 on Monday after being included into the S&P. Yeah, it's only got 25 million. I mean, they could split 4 for 1, make it 100 million, make it a little more liquid. They announced a new shoe, the ONON shoe. Yeah, it looked okay. I mean, you always got to have new products, right? You got to keep marketing and branding, and Deckers is doing a great job. Their CEO announced a new shoe. I'm not interested in buying it though, but this was Dick's Sporting Goods made a new high today. They have earnings on the 14th. So that's coming up next week. Just kind of flat on the session after making a new high, but up after hours. Dick's Sporting Goods looked pretty darn good to me. Elf, it pulled back 2 days with the market, came back to its 10. Quite a few of you DM'd me on Twitter and said, you're getting into this one, you like it on the pullback, and this is how these strong stocks, you're going to get into them. I don't think Alpha is going to form a base like this again, for 4 months and just set up nicely for us. It's probably just going to grind higher and pull back to moving averages, and you got to be quick. It had a nice 2-day sell-off on Tuesday down to 192. So, people were jumping on that left and right. And today it got upgraded. Bank of America, I believe it was, put a nice 225 price target on it, 235, something like that. I'd have to look it up, but definitely a nice move. And it was during the middle of the session that these guys came out with their note. Yeah, I think it was right in here, kind of spiked a little bit and then trailed off towards the end of the session, like a lot of stocks did today. Okay, ELF looks good. Abercrombie and Fitch, they reported earnings. Earnings were fantastic. I was hoping to come down a little more, but it only came down 3%. Didn't even make it down to its 10 EMA. Yeah, it did. Okay, almost. 130.03, it came down to 130.69. I mean, that's it. This is buy the rumor, sell the news. When a stock is up this much, despite this triple digit, earnings growth, accelerating sales growth. They went from 16 to 21. They did 1.4 billion. They did 1 billion last quarter, and I've got to use this new market surge tool here. They got the estimates here, and this is why estimates can screw you up. These are just estimates. And the estimates, these are easy hurdles for Abercrombie and Fitch, to get over. They just did 1.4 in the Christmas quarter and a billion 56. The prior quarter. You think they're only going to do 909 the next quarter? Heck no. Those are easy bars for them to hurdle over. This is a super cheap stock. I shouldn't say cheap. I should say inexpensive stock with 6.8 billion market cap, and they're doing what? They're doing nearly, going to do nearly 5 billion in sales. It's just barely over one-time sales. So, this is something that I want to get into on a pullback, and maybe today was my chance and I missed it because I didn't buy it. Anyway, that's it for retail, except for Celsius. I got to get to Celsius. I believe this thing is going to 100. Had this nice gap on earnings, pull back a little bit, ran up the next session, which was Monday, pull back on Tuesday. Now made another higher high today. Definitely, higher highs, higher lows, trending in the right direction for Celsius. I like the way that thing is moving right now. All right, I got to get to the drug stocks. Novo Nordisk, this thing was 3 weeks tight. Looks like it's going for 4 weeks tight. It is going absolutely nowhere this week. 124.75, it closed at. Last week it closed at 124.23, so it's up what 52 cents this week. So yeah, going nowhere fast. But they have the manufacturing capacity now with the purchase of Catalent. Eli Lilly, today it's trading tight as well. Today it was up a little bit. They said that they do not have enough manufacturing capacity to meet the demand this year. And that's going to be a problem if you talk to people in the medical profession, that this GLP-1 drugs, or like miracle drugs, are going to be the top selling drug of all time, and they just can't manufacture enough of them. NVO just yesterday announced the study that was halted in October, helped 24% of diabetics with renal kidney failure, and they're doing cardiovascular studies as well. So they filed for an NDA for the kidney, and I'm sure they're going to do one for cardiovascular, which is the #1 killer. I hate to say the same thing day after day, but these are two. There's a lot of stocks, big pharma stocks you can buy, like Gilead, Amgen, Pfizer, Merck. They're not going to grow like this, Lilly and Novo Nordisk, and that's what makes Viking so appealing. And I think Viking is definitely in negotiations because they want to probably be taken over by one of these companies, probably Merck or Pfizer or one of them. But anyway, Viking spiked. This is a nice high tight flag. Not really tight yet. The flag needs to tighten up. It's more like a short stroke pattern, but maybe a couple more weeks. In a couple more weeks, we could have a high tight flag, which is no guarantee of anything. It's It's just another chart pattern. It doesn't guarantee it's going to go up another 100%, but these have proven to be powerful patterns, not necessarily with stocks without earnings or anything though. And I believe that buyout price for this will be about, I don't know, just from discussing it with people in the know, probably between 15 and 20 billion. So right now it's trading at 9.8 billion, but they have another readout coming before the end of the quarter. And, that readout could be bad. The first one they issued was good. If the next one's bad, then this thing's going to tank heavily. So, there's risk. There's risk when you have you're owning a stock without earnings or sales just based on a buyout, being a buyout candidate. Anyway, that's it for Viking, Lilly, Novo, the weight loss cohort. This is Aquestive. They reported earnings and they had about 50 million or something in sales for the year. But their big thing, everything is forward looking for them. They have a couple of drugs in the pipeline. They're going to have a readout here he said within 2 weeks. And they have two drugs coming out. And this is one of the drugs has already been approved for adults, and they're trying to get it approved for younger children. And if I was a school teacher and principal, and I seen kids with EpiPens having seizures, and this is a film that they just absorb. You can carry it with you, and if you feel a seizure coming on, you can just slip it, in your mouth like a piece of gum or something. It's a film type of thing, like a breath mint or whatever, and it takes care of the seizure really quickly. The timing is phenomenal, but they're going to have to prove themselves. They're going to have to launch a drug. It's going to take money and time and everything. So this is a longer term play, but it did pull back to its 10 EMA today after the earnings report, and then gapped up 20%. I believe from the low to the high was about 42% there, from 360 to 519. So you got a wild one there. Aquestive, very nice. ALPN, another biotech stock, just romping higher, making new highs, very little sales or anything, but there's just a lot of stuff going on, as I said, in the market. A lot of areas that are doing well. Biotech's just one of them. This is Fulcrum, FULC. Another nice 10% move today. Anyway, I'm going to move on because I got to get to the chemical stock. I'm trying to reach out in new avenues here. This is Aspen Aerogels, ASPN. It was up almost 7% today. But you can see it's just forming this base here. It ran right up the right side of the base. And usually when it does that, it takes a longer time to form a handle because the right side of that base was done in look at that on the weekly, like 2 weeks, right? And now it's forming a handle. So I still like that one. It looks pretty darn good to me. WD, you guys use WD-40. You can solve anything with WD-40, duct tape and a hammer, right? This one was set up in a base and sliced. It's 50 today with volume. So definitely a chemical stock that had been doing well, trading tight within a base and just fell out. So no bueno for WD-40. NEU is another chemical stock. Just pull back to its 10. It's been really strong. You see it's broke out of this base, trending higher. Very nice action. And then RPM, set up in this base here and just been romping higher. This is doing really well. Anyway, they make the DAP, Rust-Oleum. It's more of a construction type play, chemical play. Anyway, okay, I'm trying to branch out here. BRKR, the medical stocks are doing really well. This one, if you see this little action here, these are the ants, the new ants on market surge, which just indicates, a strong stock with momentum that's being bought. A lot of up days and very few sell-off days. This is BRKR Bruker Corporation. I mean, it's got a 12.5 billion market cap, so it's not a little punk, but you can see the setup in this base, and now gapped higher and just strong stock. BRKR, medical systems equipment, Intuitive Surgical, another one doing well, just pulled back to its 21. Gapped higher after earnings and pulled back a couple times at 21, definitely finding support at its moving averages. IQVA Holdings, medical research. I'd be joking you if I told you what it did, but what it is it's making its shareholders a lot of money. You can see this double bottom pattern, and just moving higher the last 5 weeks. So the medical stocks, but we've got to pay attention to the rotation in the markets. Speaking of which, the financials are getting some love too. This is Evercore, just romping higher. I mean, there's a lot of stocks like this, and JP Morgan, this big company, 545 billion market cap, just trading higher every darn day. Yeah, I mean, Maine is another one. This is a more of a REIT that it pays a monthly dividend. I believe it's like 6% or so, 6.2%. Yeah, I mean, they're doing phenomenal. The financials, medical, chemicals, drugs, gosh, some retail, some softwares, the AI stocks. There's just a lot of them all over the place. I haven't gotten to the HVAC stocks. This one's doing well. LII, that's Comfort System Fix. This is LII, Dave Lennox company. Yeah, and the other one is Modine doing very well. In a data center play, Vert, this is one that I like as well, just making a new high today. Anyway, that's it for me. And there's a lot of stuff I could get to, but I can't cover it all. One more thing. Somebody asked me, in honor of the great Steve Jobs, somebody asked me about Frog, and I believe we had Frog on our ready list a couple weeks ago. Yeah, at about 35, and it just blasted higher after earnings, went up to 48. Now it's pulled back to its 21 and found support. So to me, this looks good. You want to find out, this is the 2 days where the Nasdaq pulled back, and what did it do? Pulled back to the 10, didn't find support there. The next day, it pulled back to the 20. 21, and then found support and a nice bounce there from the lows of $40.68 up to 43.40. So that's a nice bounce in Frog. So I like that one. So I also lied in the honor of the great Steve Jobs. One more thing. Victoria's Secret, one of my favorite outlet stores, reported earnings this afternoon. Not doing much. Up a dollar. Well, excuse me, up 1.29%. Whoa, now it's down 22%. So I got to find out what's going on with Victoria's Secret. Maybe I got to spend more money there. I'll have more information in the morning on this stuff on my site at MC Stock Charts. We do have some earnings coming out tomorrow. As earnings season is winding down, I did mention Broadcom. We have Kroger coming out, Marvell's tomorrow, I believe Costco. So there's just even as earnings season's winding down, there's still some big companies. And Victoria's Secret is definitely getting hit. Anyway, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. I'll have more information in tomorrow morning's report. We never give up.